Dear ladies and gentlemen, this video will be my last Blade Warband tutorial. Which doesn't mean I will stop making videos, I won't. I just will focus on Blade with fire and sword, which is highly underrated. And of course I will focus on Bannerlord once the game is finished. You'll find other Blade Warband content on my channel, such as gameplays, let's plays, and German explanation videos, but those are not tutorials. In this final tutorial of mine I will teach you some tactics that I deemed interesting and useful during my long experience with this game. I will show you small army tactics with around 30 soldiers, and I will try to show you how to maintain and lead a huge army. I'll fight these pretty tough opponents with 34 men, which are only horsemen. As you can see, I will use these men, the Kurgate horsemen, as horse archers. I gave them a separate group. And I will use the mercenary horsemen as shock cavalry. The idea behind this setup is that the mercenary horsemen will charge directly into the enemy and distract him, while I, myself, lead the Kurgate horsemen. I will order them to follow me, and I will try to flank the Sea Raiders, and after flanking them successfully, I will retreat and start circling them, so the horse archers can shoot the Sea Raiders who are involved with the combat against the mercenary horsemen, who should be tough enough to withstand those heavy infantrymen. Let's see how this works out. As you can see in green, the mercenary horsemen attack the red Sea Raiders directly. I now start circling the enemy, after riding one time through him by flanking him. You see, the Sea Raiders were able to totally destroy my heavy cavalry, so they are no enemy to mess around with. The Crooked Horseman managed to defeat the Sea Raiders, while the mercenary cavalry was totally slaughtered by them. This was an interesting outcome. I thought actually that the Crooked Horsemen would be those slaughtered. Ah, now that I have a look at my company in the party screen, I can see that more mercenary horsemen survived than I expected. I changed my company quite a bit, as you can see. I managed to get the highest soldier count possible through leadership skill. You can have an even bigger party if you manage to become the marshal or the king of a faction. Or, if you lead your own faction, you could become both. And this combination will give you the maximum company count available in the game. This is the closest I could get to the maximum, 113. This company consists of all of my favorites. We have the Ruddock Sergeant, which is again astonishingly cheap. We have the Serenade Veteran Footman, which is even cheaper than he was in my troop tutorial due to my high leadership skill, which pushes down the wages. We have the Mercenary Horseman again, and the Crooked Horseman again. For these two, the tactics will be the same. The Crooked Horseman will follow me and flank the enemy, while the Mercenary Horseman will charge into the enemy and try to distract him. Meanwhile, the Serenade veterans will keep in line, will form a line, a pretty loose line, so they can spread their fire, or their throwing speeds, it is, as much as possible, while the Ruddock Sergeants will stand pretty close in front of the veteran footman in a close position, so to simulate a shield wall. Unfortunately, Blade Warband doesn't have a specific shield wall command. Blade Viking Conquest and Blade Bannerlord have such commands. So we have to deal with what we got. We will simulate a shield wall without having a proper command for it. And we will see how this works out. As enemy, I chose this man, Jarl Bulba. I didn't only choose him because of his silly name, and because being a Nord means he's a filthy barbarian, but I chose him because of the troops. You can see what kind of troops he has. He has a mix of everything, in different quality, and focuses on trained footmen and pretty tough warriors, as well as some archers. He can be quite a challenge. In yellow you can see the Crooked Horsemen following me, while my infantry formed the line. I have to admit I made a mistake. I should have spread my infantry units in two types, marking the Ruddock Sergeants as heavy infantry and the Serenade Veteran as normal infantry, so I could command them separately. Again, the cavalry is already dead. and the enemy is charging through. My infantryman. Fortunately, I have my mobile horse archers. Reinforcements are arriving. I have to regroup. I will try to concentrate my horsemen here on the edge of the battlefield, so I disperse the enemies, so my infantrymen can try to hold the line and can try to survive. Yes, I let them come, I let the archers do the job. And then I will move around again and wait again for the enemies to follow us. Don't forget to tell your men to mount, so they stay mounted, no matter what happens. You can see on the map this worked pretty well. A big amount of enemies is following me instead of attacking my footmen. Yes, the main chunk of the enemy forces is focused on me and distracted by me. I think we're gonna lose this man. He got stuck in a tree, I guess. And now he will fall victim to the enemy. Ah! The Rodok Sergeant managed to slaughter most of the enemies in front of them. Let's help them. I have to pay attention to my mount. Oh. Maybe I can manage to ride the other mount. Yes! At least he has a little bit of more health than my mount had. Oh, this doesn't look good for me. Oh no, this doesn't look good at all. The numbers speak for themselves. My strategy unfortunately didn't work as I hoped. So let's try something else. The idea is that these men, the infantrymen, which I selected to highlight them, these hold the line, while me and the archer stay back. We let them come and just wait for them. Yeah, you see? Now the Saramite men throw their spears and enemy contact. They managed to break through the line. I try to distract the enemy and lure him away. I provoke them. As the health of my horse is low, I switched to my melee weapon instead of my lance, because I will have to focus close combat. I have to be prepared, because soon my horse will die. I try to slow the enemy down. I'm quite fast while climbing hills with my horse. The enemy on foot is not. Now I try to bring the enemy in front of my men. And I hope... Oh, that's it for my horse. See, I retreat through my sergeants. I move backwards and lure the enemy into my Rodok sergeants, who were able to take them out without any casualties on their side. We did it! We won! This time the casualties speak totally for themselves. We totally defeated the enemy. We wounded most of them, which is a pretty good outcome for us, because we want to take them prisoner and sell them. if we were conquering Calradia, this outcome would have been even better, because this defeat leads into the escape of the enemy lord. He abandons his troops, he disbands his army, so all these 80 men of the Jarl are no more, but we can recruit up to 23 of them by taking them prisoner and recruiting them in our camp menu one by one. So slowly we could turn his army into ours. We even were able to take him prisoner. In my opinion, this was a huge success. I showed you 3 different tactics with 3 different results. I hope you could learn something from this. And I would be very glad to see you again in another video of mine, especially the Mountain Blade with Fire and Sword tutorial series, which will come soon. Goodbye.